Anyway, fat burners are talking about Easter. You know, I am also reeling from Easter a little bit. I definitely went a bit overboard, that's for freaking sure. But anyway, I just thought it might be useful to talk about help with handling holiday leftovers. So I would love to help people step away from all or nothing thinking around holiday fare. So more carbohydrates and really more fat. That's generally what happens. So tons of cheese, you know, crackers, potatoes, bread, baked goods, lots of carbohydrates, lots of fat, and that's just like instant weight gain, and it's not awesome for our health as well. But anyway, that shit is delicious. So I just wanted to kind of like give a little bulleted list if this is relevant for anyone and if this seems useful. So number one, I just want to say, and this is like preemptive stuff, which is like not the thing to think about right now, but the thing to think about for the next time, which is don't have a crazy amount of whatever the heck the thing is, like in the first place. So, you know, always, like, it would be a cardinal sin to run out of food. Like, can't even freaking imagine. We don't do that in my household or my family. But barring that, like, I'm gonna say this, you might want to get just a little bit less than a little bit more. Like, if you know that you're not having like a crazy amount of people, if other people are bringing things, if there are multiple courses, if everyone isn't like the biggest eater on the planet, you might want to do just a little bit less. And I'm gonna say that I brag that I did this around cheese. So there's typically a cheese course with my family, and what I recognized, there was one year, I think I bought like 11 types of cheese. Like, I just kind of like went to the moon, and I thought it was so fun, and it was such a bad idea because people hardly ate much of any of it because there were so many. And then I had like pounds of cheese in my home. And cheese is delicious and it's addictive, and that's not a good move. So whatever it might be, you know, if you know that you're typically left with a lot of blank, whatever that might be, bread, if it's like, oh my God, everyone brings a freaking dessert, I would encourage you, like, first off, to maybe have a little bit less than a little bit more. That's number one. Number two, and this is like, I don't typically think this way, but I know that it's actually really useful, which is to send it away. And so that doesn't mean you have to give away all of the banana cream pie that your sister-in-law made, but maybe you like give away half of it. Like, maybe you only keep a third of it. Maybe you're like generous of spirit with other members of your family because you don't want to have the whole thing staring you in the face the day after. So keep some of it, give a lot of it away. All right? And then whatever is remaining, and you know what, even if that is a lot, your freezer is your friend. I've preached this thinking for years. Out of sight, out of mind. In sight, on mind. So it's so much easier for us to take action on something that's staring us in the face. And it's a lot easier for us to not when it's not in our sight, in our line of sight. Okay? So this could be like packaging things up, you know, in serving sizes, so then you don't have this whole commitment of like, now I need to defrost half of the pie, all of the pie, whatever. So that can be a good move. But anyway, stick it away. Even if that's like in a cupboard with crackers, that's something that I put out of sight, or things like carrot cake. That I ate a lot of, which was so freaking delicious, that I also still have a lot of, that's in the freezer. Additionally, and this is a little like, this is an act of discipline. So this is kind of that stepping away from that all or nothing thinking. And so basically measuring it, and like, as like fucking dull as that might be, or like arduous or painful, she or he who has like a lot of cheese, like heavy duty carbs, like again, we're dealing with lots of fat and lots of carbohydrates typically on holidays. So whatever it is that's like super freaking delicious that you have a lot of, that's like, I want to eat this, measure it. And again, however boring that might be, it just kind of enables you to continue to eat it and not have this like fuck it mentality, and then like a road to ruin that is like steep and downhill quickly, you know, saturated in regret at the bottom, that takes you a while to climb out of this hole that you dug yourself. Okay? I say this with love. Measure that shit. So if you are, whatever you're intending to eat, whatever you normally eat, whatever you know that's like, you know, if that's your thing, I'm aiming to have like a supportive meal, like have, like augment it with these things. Cheese is like my big thing, which I have a wide variety of right now in my home. Then I also want to say this, and I hope, again, I hope I don't sound like a dick, but having crossroad negotiations, this is something that I describe. I have termed this that. I don't know who that was, but thank you. But this is a fat burner thing. Yay, Jeff. Hi, my dear. This is a fat burner thing, and I really push this. And what this does is, basically, when you're like staring something in the face, which is like, oh, I could eat all the fucking carrot cake again. Like, I have totally thought about it yesterday. Absolutely. I thought about it a little bit today. And it's like, carrot cake's delicious. I like, it may be my favorite cake. I think it's so freaking fantastic. It's like perfect as far as I'm concerned. But the crossroad negotiations is basically weighing the pros and the cons in the moment. And what I'm going to say about this is that this is such an adult thing to do. This is such a self-respecting, self-loving, hi Joan, hi my dear. It's such a conscious thing to do. And what it also does is it takes us away from I'm being good or I'm being bad. It's like I'm being honest when I'm actually weighing the consequences of this choice. And the consequences of any choice could be, oh my God, this is going to feel so good. This is helping me to get whatever the heck I want. This gives me lots of energy. I feel great. I look great when I eat this. Like, that could be the consequences of a choice. And a consequence of a choice could also be, fuck, you know, this is going to be such a freaking like sugar bomb. Like, this is going to be like inflammatory. This is going to disrupt my sleep. This is going to make me gain weight. Like, you know, this is going to like have me eating tons of freaking carbohydrates today. Like, you know, I'm going to feel regretful. I'm going to feel bad about myself. This is like moving me away from the direction I really want to be going in. And when you do that, it makes a choice really obvious. And the thing that I also want to say, and maybe I'm going to talk about guilt at the end of this, is that when you do that, when it's like you're the decision maker, you're the judge, then we get away from this like personalization, this judgment around the choices that we're making. Then it's like we're just doing what makes sense. And it makes it so much easier to make a decision that's actually good for you because you're putting all of the facts on the table. And the thing that I also want to say is that sometimes it's like, you know what? I totally want to eat all of this. Like, that sounds fucking amazing. Like, I haven't had this in a million years. Like, it's my carb feast. We'll talk about that in a second. You know, this has been highly anticipated. Like, I'm never going to be here again. I don't have the opportunity. Like, yes. And that is the perfect reason to do whatever the hell you want as well. But the deal is, I push this with my fat burners, regret-free decisions. And the way you do that is you put the consequences, pros and cons, on the table in front of you. And then it's like, it makes it so much easier to make a decision that's in your best interest. And often that's like, you know what? I don't really want this today. Like, I had the feast 2 days ago. Like, I don't need another one. It's gonna last. Like, I'm okay. Or it could be, oh my God, this is like the best freaking time. I can't wait for it. I'm so excited. Yes. So what happens with this is then it keeps putting you in the driver's seat. So you're not doing this like running away from yourself and like hiding and pretending and then shaming yourself and feeling shitty and then wanting to punish yourself in the other direction with restriction. You just get off the fucking crazy merry-go-round when you just start to put the reality in your lap and you're the big boy or big girl that gets to take care of yourself in this moment and decide what's best for you. It's awesome. It's such a good practice. And I'll come back to that with guilt. And then, so maybe just two other things, and then I'll go to the guilt piece. But the other, I'll just say this, like, you've got to have a place for deliberate indulgence. Like, everybody does. And so if you're someone that kind of lives this very moderate life and you are like at a weight and a health that you're like super happy about, and you are like so skillful and just having like, you know, teeny tiny amounts of like treats periodically when you decide to have them, that is amazing. For the rest of us, like, you need a time and a place. And even so, whether you are just aiming to kind of like uphold a certain kind of dietary standard, I'm going to say, you intend to eat in a certain way more often than not, or you're actually actively aiming to create some change, you still need points of relief. There is a very real thing called diet fatigue. And so even if you're not like, you know, severely restricting yourself calorically or, you know, for some macronutrient, if you are being very conscious most of the time, there's an element of like mental wear that comes with that. So what is very reasonable to require and to give to yourself with some regularity is relief, is indulgence, is no rules, is, you know, permission. And if you don't, you will have fuck it moments where the mind is just like, you know, we've been so kind of like conscious and deliberate and maybe restrictive in some fashion. And what will happen is the body and the brain will push back and it'll say fuck it, and it'll have the donut or the whatever the hell it is that you do love that you don't eat very much. And what that tends to do is it creates a little more of this kind of like binge excess and then shame shit. So what I would suggest is to recognize our natures, which is I will say this, and this is where carb feasts come in, which is that if you eat less calories and you eat less carbohydrates, hormones shift. So there's a hormone called leptin that lowers. So that is a hormone that indicates or helps us to feel more satisfied, helps with satiety when we eat, and it also impacts weight loss. So that hormone decreases when we eat less calories and we eat less carbohydrates. So what we do as fat burners is we deliberately have carb feasts with some amount of regularity. And what that does is it creates a win-win situation on all fronts. It creates a win-win situation for this diet fatigue element. It creates a win-win situation regarding our body's actual need for more food, more calories, more carbohydrates. It resets these hormones that make sure that the body doesn't plateau, that weight loss can continue on. And then it's like, great, it's Easter. Like, that's life. We're made to feast. We're made for feast and we're made for famine. And so what that means is holidays, celebrations are generally always connected to food. And so as a species, food, the hunt, the harvest, it's like that's an indication of prosperity, fortune, good luck, celebration. And so to not participate with things like that kind of in life is unreasonable. That's my opinion. We're both made for it, and it's kind of how our culture, our species is set up. And so anyway, so it's really useful to have deliberate times to have whatever the heck is on the table, whatever you love, whatever you would enjoy, without regret. And so, what do I want to say? And I'll go back to the guilt thing. And so, I'll say this too. I think sometimes when we do, so if you don't account for that, what ends up happening for people is they feel like they've blown it, they've fucked up, they've screwed themselves, and that there's often this in for a penny, in for a pound, let me just go for broke because I drank a bunch, because I ate all the garbage and deliciousness that I could have. I overate. So, maybe however you're feeling, because of alcohol maybe, or because of just too much sugar. You can have a food hangover, a real deal hangover, and that stuff can make you feel off, depleted, craving more of the shit that you had. So I'm going to encourage you to recognize that if you had a bunch of sugar and carbohydrates and a lot of food, you probably don't need a lot of sugar and carbohydrates and a lot of food. Again, we'll just do that math. So I'm just going to encourage you to take account. But then the other thing I want to say is to kind of recognize one day is zero, it's a drop in the bucket. And so it's so helpful to have a little reality check when we do something that either we know wasn't the best for us or that wasn't really supportive. I'm just gonna kind of shake anybody who has this thinking, which is well, because I did it today means I should just go or keep going. And that is dumb. That makes zero sense. Some what do I want to say? Some is better than all. Some or once is better than a lot. And so I would just encourage you to give yourself a moment if you start to think that way. Because what happens is that's when people veer off into Never Never Land and start to gain a bunch of weight and then want to zip their lips and get religion and be restrictive until they have another deviation, which sends them to this extreme place again. And the deal is, you just don't have to do that. And the way to not do that is to kind of once again, give yourself a moment. It's it was Sunday. That's okay. And maybe my final thing with that, and then I'm going to go to guilt, is that so she who has a load of sexy leftovers in her home, maybe all of you. So once again, it's so all of that stuff was for a holiday, right? It was a treat, it was special. And so what I'm going to encourage you to do is to deliberately have it again as a treat, as something special. So the two ways to handle this, and as far as I'm concerned, is to measure this shit and have it more often in your world, or to make it special. And so it's lots of cheese, crackers, which I freaking love. They're my drug of choice. So much carrot cake. I think that's it. Hollandaise sauce, which is sexy and fatty. I'm just being judicious with that, but I still think it's amazing. But anyway, so that's the stuff in my home. And so with it, it's save it for something special, a carb feast, yay for me, or something like on the weekend, we're going to be together, me and my loved one, and it's like, we'll have a little more of an indulgent meal. We'll have an Easter part 2. That sounds so fun. Or we measure this shit. We have smaller amounts more often. That's the way to not break the bank. Okay? And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was guilt. And so this is a little bit, this is like a fat burner brag. I need to do a little post about this. It like makes my heart like weep and sing at the same time. But like, something that can be so tough for people is to not feel emotionally like judgmental of themselves when they do things that aren't supportive. So it's like, if you don't give a shit, you don't give a shit, and that's great. That's fine. That's all right. But if you do give a shit, what can happen for people is there's like good food, and then there's food that's like bad. Like, I shouldn't eat that. I shouldn't have pizza. Like, I shouldn't have cookies, like, but I want them. And the deal is, of course you do, because they're delicious. It's like, how could you not? So referring back to, you've got to have deliberate times of indulgence, even if they're infrequent. You have to have deliberate stuff around that. But anyway, what was so wonderful for me to hear reports back from multiple fat burners was that they just enjoyed the crap out of their day, that they enjoyed the crap out of their feast. They loved what they had. They got undeniably full, and they didn't feel guilty. And that's the goal. It's like, food isn't a moral affair. Like, it's a judgment-free zone. Like, we enjoy what we enjoy. We have the capacity for however much based on like our body and activity. And then we choose to eat whatever we do based on either what it does for us or what we enjoy. And so I think it's so important. It's so important, again, for us to have deliberate times of indulgence. It's not every day, all day. We're not just like, downing Twinkies and like swigging beer. Like, we're not doing that. But at times, that's fantastic. And so it was just so good, like, to hear that kind of, the fact that they got to enjoy it all, like, without like self-condemnation, I feel like is the way to be. And what's awesome about how they're doing it is they understand how to do it. And I think that when you understand like how to use deliberate indulgence, then it's this win-win situation. It's not like, oh God, it's like, I want this, but it's only doing harm. And it's like, it doesn't have to. So once again, when we eat less calories, when we eat less carbohydrates, certain hormones shift. And it's actually quite natural to need to recalibrate them. And feasts are things that do that. Anyway, so that's it. That's all I wanted to say. So maybe I'll just like go down this little list again. I hope this is also helpful for other people. So like, number one, like how to handle holiday leftovers. I'm going to say this, if you're going, like, I am from a family of like, you never run out of food. Like, more is, if some is good, more is better. Like, an abundance is what you are looking for. But the thing that I recognize now is that like, when you have so much food, it's like, it's got to go somewhere. And it's like, sometimes it's staying at your house or coming home with you. So if there's going to be multiple courses and multiple people bringing things, or however you do your holidays, I'm just going to encourage you. If you know that everyone is not like, the biggest eater on the planet, if there's going to be a ton of food, it's like a little less. Like, instead of a little more, which is what I typically do, a little less. And what that's going to do is, it's just going to it's going to reduce the leftovers. Again, get to know me. I grew up with a grandmother who grew up during the Depression. It's like, you throw away nothing. Like, you eat everything, you save shit, you throw away nothing. And so it's like, if there's a ton of food, it's like, it's not going to waste. And so it's like, do I want to eat like 7 different types of cheese? Yes and no. Number 2 is like send it away. And so this is something too, this can like be hard. Like I'm gonna like pry my cold dead hands off of the like again, like the cheese and the crackers that I really want to eat all of. And it's like, I'm going to be generous with this because in reality, I don't want to eat pounds of this stuff. So it's like share the wealth, send someone else. Again, Easter was Sunday, not tomorrow. Do it for your next holiday. Do it for your next celebration. Number 3 is the like your freezer is your friend. Pack this shit up. Out of sight, out of mind. If you have something like staring in your face, it is so easy to take action on it. It's so easy to eat it. It is like how we're wired. And conversely, the opposite is true. If you are not looking at the carrot cake that's in your freezer, it's a lot easier to not eat it. Portion it out so you can do this when you store it. And then the other like amazing like super tip is this is the way to have the sexy shit in a way that doesn't wreck your waistline, which like boring is to measure it. So again, celebratory foods tend to be higher in fat and high in carbohydrates. So it's like they're just super calorie rich. So portion it. If you're like one of my beloved fat burners, she's like, we had twice baked potatoes and macaroni and cheese and like some like broccoli casserole. It's just like cheese and cheese and cheese and cheese and cheese. And it's like, all of that sounds delicious. Keep eating it, but just measure that shit. I talked about having crossroad negotiations, and this is a fat burner skill, which is like, you are the boss, you are in charge. This is like the temple that we're taking care of. And all we need to do when you're facing the like, fuck, I really want carrot cake every goddamn day. Like, I think that would be a delicious, I should look for more healthy, supportive alternatives because I feel like I could literally eat this every day. I love it. But anyway, you just put the facts on the table. You put your reality on the table. And that includes what you want, how you feel, how you want to feel. And sometimes the choice is, hell yes, I'm eating this. I'm eating all of this. And sometimes it's like, you know what? That actually doesn't feel worth it. Like, I have other things that I want more right now. And that is great. And what that does is that creates regret-free decisions. And it keeps you, what do I want to say? Like, it keeps you as the judge and not the thing that you are judging. And I think that's a really useful thing when we are aiming to lose weight, follow a particular way of eating, whatever it is. I think it's really, really important. It's freeing, and it gets us out of this like, ooh, I'm being bad, I'm being good. Like, fuck that shit. And when we do these evaluations, these crossroad negotiations, it's like, we just get to see what's true for us. And then we get to make a decision based on our truth. Win-win. And then having a deliberate feast because we need it. Like for every fucking reason. Yep. And your brain, your body will like make you get it if you don't deliberately have it. And then the last thing I want to say is like, just that reminder. It's like a holiday is one day. And so to like throw the baby out with the bathwater and think like, I blew it, you know, so I should just keep on trucking. That is absolutely asinine. So like the majority rules. So stop it. Okay? Do not rationalize that it's like, well, because, you know, I messed up. It's like, this is life. Like, if it's every day, that's a different matter. And that might not be creating what you desire. And that's a good reason to reevaluate that. But holidays are like meant to be enjoyed. I say this to my fat burners all the time. It's like a holiday will be a carb feast. Unless you're like, I don't observe this, you know? I'm going to be doing this instead. Like, I'm not having a holiday meal. And it's like, okay, like that's perfect. But if you're going to be sitting down at a table with family or friends, and there's like all this delicious stuff around you, it's like that would be a good reason to have a feast. Okay? I think that's it. I hope that was great. I hope that was so freaking good. I hope that was so freaking good. Again, I did not plan for this, but I hope this was useful stuff. And again, like, biggest thing is, you know, I think a lot of people think that they have to choose between eating delicious things or being the weight or the health that they desire. And that is not reasonable. That's not sustainable. And so the deal is, A, you should get your body in a fat burning mode, because then you won't have cravings, and then it's real, and less hunger. You will have less hunger. So then it's easy to say no to a donut today because your body's not like begging for it. And then B, my point, oh man, what do I want to say? Oh, I don't know. I totally lost my train of thought, but that's okay. Yes. And then basically it's like having indulgence. This is it, that we think we can't have both. And the deal is we will have both. Like, we will eat this stuff. Like, if you love whatever the heck it is, it's like, of course you're going to want it. Like, that makes so much sense. What was I going to say? So the deal is not to like think that it has to be one or the other. So this is what I was going to say. Thank you so much. The next line of defense is to, like, if there's something that you absolutely love, like, and I'm just going to say this, get to know me. I hope this is so fascinating. Like, I think one of my superpowers is making weight loss work for like anybody. Like, whatever your limitation is, perceived or real, like, I will figure that shit out, is the truth. And so that can also incorporate preferences. So whether that's like, I love alcohol, I love chips, I love cheese, I love, you know, buttercream, blah, blah, blah. Like, I love pizza, I love ice cream. Like, whatever it is, what a lot of people will do with me is they'll kind of confess, ooh, I really love good bread. It's like, who doesn't? Oh my God. And it's like, but you know, I can't have that. Like, I won't have that. And it's just like, oh my God. So like, line of defense number one is to figure out how to have the shit that you love in a form that actually is supportive. And the thing that I want to say about this is that there's always a better way. And it doesn't mean that it's exactly the same, but depending on your level of, I'm going to say, like, dependency, infatuation, adoration, like, depending on that level of intensity, like, you should be eating this thing more often than not, or you might be able to kind of hang back and have it within frequency, like on a regular feast, like we do. Or you figure out something that's like, this is pretty good. Like, this is not the same thing, but this is pretty freaking good. So for example, I talked about carrot cake. Now it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna just keep looking for recipes. But I have one that's really good. So it's like, there's always a better version of the thing that you think might be off the table. And then the other piece is, then you should also have that thing, like that real deal. Oh my God, so heavenly, can't believe it. Like, you need that too. So I think that people rule things out because they think that it's like, I can't do this. And I can't do this because I love that. And my point is, A, when you get your body into a fat burning mode, you're less hungry and you will not crave that. It doesn't mean that that thing still isn't delicious, but you get to have it when you say, not just because your body is like panicked and needing that sugar. So that's like step one. But then step two is, if you love this, let's just figure out a better version of it that you can have all the freaking time, or at the very least, a lot of the time. And then step 3 is like, and you should just have this on your carb feast. Like, whatever it is that you love. People like Mexican food, I hear that a ton. Nachos, like so much about pizza and ice cream this week or like before Easter for fat burners. And it's like, because it's delicious. So anyway, so I just wanted to say that, we love what we love. And it doesn't mean that we can't get like unhooked physiologically from like, you know, highly addictive food, whether that's like typically processed shit. But in addition to that, running on fat makes just being deliberate about what you're eating so much easier, not in a way that involves willpower. And the second thing is like creating a better offering of that, a better alternative of that offering. That's smart. And then step 3 is like having it periodically, like in the way that you love it best. Okay? Life on Planet Me. Anyway, I hope this was great. I hope this like opened your eyes and gave you some new perspective in a way that felt really useful. And this felt fun to do, so thank you. If you are a man or a woman over 40 who wants to lose 8 to 15 pounds in a month by getting your body literally able to use your body fat for energy, and what that does is that helps you to be less hungry, to not have cravings in a crazy and freeing way, gives you an abundance of energy, it slows aging, no joke, makes weight loss easier and weight gain harder. Please consider fat burning. Consider getting your body or undergoing a mitochondrial reconstruction. We're made to do this, but we've kind of dumbed it down because of how prevalent food is, how abundant carbohydrates are in our diet. And so it's easier for our bodies to burn fat and easier for our bodies to store sugar and to burn fat. I'll try again. Easier for our bodies to burn sugar and store fat. But what we do is we flip that. Easier to burn fat, less likely to store it. It's very freeing. Okay, so anyway, I'll attach our sugar quiz below this should you just wish to check out where you are on that spectrum regarding what fuel you're predominantly burning. But that is typically the sticking point if you're either trying to create some change and having a hard time, or feeling like you're kind of like fighting your own body to uphold certain standards, to try to eat in a certain way. And that is the worst, I have to say. If you have the intention to eat certain things, to eat less often, to eat less food, and it's like your body is like banging at the door in a way that you can't ignore. That's hard. That is wiring, but that can change. Okay? That's it. I hope this is great. I hope everyone had a great holiday if they celebrated. And that's it. All right? Be in touch for any reason. Love to you. And until next time.